Joining us today is a young man currently managing director of findmypersonaltrainer.com. His background began in tennis coaching at his local club, taking in stints at David Lloyd before heading over to Spain, where he worked alongside former world number one, Juan Carlos Ferrero. Through a passion for helping people, he now walks the entrepreneur path, aiming to build businesses that facilitate just that. Being an Arsenal fan tops it all off. We give you Mr. Charlie King, top man. It's the only reason you got a shout, to be fair, is because you're a gooner. So there we go. Well away. Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, not bad. Cheers for having me on.
Not a problem, mate. It's good to have you.
What did you think of the game yesterday?
Dire, shocking. Alba should have had a couple.
As long as it's not Eric Dyer, we're all right.
No. It was like watching paint dry, to be honest.
No, it wasn't great, was it?
No.
I think, yeah, it's still away. I was saying to Martin yesterday, it's still an away goal, which is mad because we were playing in a neutral ground with no fans. So I don't quite understand how that works. But
too fast. As long as it's not a loss, an away goal, I'll take it. Move on.
Yeah, we
should hopefully get a win.
Should be all right. Coming back next Thursday. Fingers crossed if Alba finds his shooting boots, but we'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see. So yeah, other than that, mate, what's been going on?
Not too much. I mean, we've been trying to push Find My PT, obviously. Reach out to as many people as possible at the moment. Yeah. But at the moment, just trying to engage with as many people as possibly can to get the brand out there. But with lockdown, there's not much personal life going on.
Yeah, it's tough, innit? I think you just kind of, a lot of people are just zoning into Netflix or anything along those sort of realms. To be fair, I don't think I've ever watched as much TV as I have since in this lockdown.
I've never seen as many people walk as I do.
I've never walked as much either. Like literally all the time I'm out walking. There's nothing else to do.
Not outside either. They normally just pay to walk on a treadmill, don't they? What we see, mate. But yeah, literally everyone.
It's just groups and groups of people just walking around all over everywhere.
It's mad, isn't it, mate? It is mad because there's like a country path by where we live. Me and Lacey go walking a fair bit. And literally the last few weeks we've been going, I've never seen it as busy as it's been. Like it's mental. But I suppose when you've not got much else to do, breaks up the day, doesn't it?
Best thing to get out and do it. But
fair play, mate. Fair play. So yeah, we'll have a bit of a chat about yourself, mate. I know tennis is your background. What sort of triggered that? Why tennis? I obviously used to work in a tennis club, but didn't have a fucking Scooby-Doo about tennis, weirdly. So yeah, why tennis?
I mean, I think I started playing tennis like 7 or 8. Okay. It was one of them.
A lot of people start quite young, actually, don't they? To be fair,
like the youngest kid I've coached was like 3 years old.
Mad.
It was ridiculous. But I got into it for like a year when I was 8, and then played for about a year, stopped for 5 for football, like everyone does.
Yeah.
I kept playing a little bit, like with my brother, just down the park, nothing proper. I mean, I got back into it when I was about 13, played through at the club for about 3-4 years, then got qualified. And as soon as I got qualified, because I was at the club that I'd grown up at, I was always seen as like the kid. I was never seen as the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair enough. It is what it is. But from there, I then left. I went to David Lloyd. And that's where it kind of kicked on. But it's one of them where you're self-employed. It weren't like walk into the building, pick up a load of clients at the age of 17 and you're doing all right. It was tough. And I'll be honest, if I didn't get into the industry so young, I wouldn't be in the industry. Like, no chance.
So how did that work? You know, like finding clients. I mean, we support and help PTs out, but what's the difference between trying to find clients as a tennis coach and maybe doing it as a PT in and around the gym?
I mean, similar in terms of like networking and in terms of you've got your groups, you're trying to meet as many people as you possibly can around the club. I think they're like two completely different ends of the spectrum, but kind of link in. Whereas like PTs, there's loads of PTs, but there's also loads of people who go to the gym.
Yeah.
Tennis, you've got very small amount of tennis coaches, and you've got a lot less people who play tennis. So it's not easy. I mean, the main reason like my clients picked up was when I went to Spain for work experience. From that period, I run a promo after that, and I picked up at least 10 clients, at least. And I think from that point, that took me like to around just over 20. And then from that point, I was because I was seen in the club a lot more, on court a lot more, then I gradually continued gaining clients from there.
So it's still that little bit of like being seen to be delivering and
Yeah.
providing a service, and if people are seeing that, then that's what they're buying into. Like, I find it interesting actually that there are similarities there with PT, aren't there really? But I suppose tennis, it's not the first thing that comes to my head, even though having worked at tennis clubs and stuff, the gym was very, very separate. Although we'd get people in that would train for sports, a lot of them obviously were sports-based people being in a squash and tennis club.
Yeah.
It did feel a little bit separate until we started to integrate. Like the bar was the biggest area to go and sit in, really, even trying to get clients and stuff, because as soon as they've had a knock or they've played, that's where they go, and the social side of it was massive. So you said there about networking and stuff. Is that something that you kind of tried to really get involved? How does it work at David Lloyd for that type of thing?
It was similar at David Lloyd in terms of the gym and tennis side of it are so separate. You've either got the members there that want to go to the gym, or the people who want to play tennis. There's not really, they want to go gym and tennis. You got the odd few, but there wasn't like masses and masses of people. If they did go to the gym, it was more just to keep fit, just go on a treadmill for a bit, go on a bike. It wasn't anything major. But the bar, massive. Like just sitting down in the club room down there, just talking to as many people as possible. But it wasn't like easy in terms of David Lloyd. Like they had there wasn't as much support to feed you through clients as I'd say there was for the PTs.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I was a member of a David Lloyd.
Yeah.
And when I first joined and first started, that's the first thing that they guide me towards would be tennis. Because I got a daughter, it was like, it's a tennis program, you meet these coaches. And then after that, once you're in, just like you said, they don't mention it again.
No.
So then you're kind of left to your own devices to try and build that rapport with people to then get them over to the tennis court. And like you said, if you're bringing your kid to a kids club and you've not bought into the tennis, and then you're going to the gym, it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
It is hard. Like, I mean, the worst bit for our David Lloyd was it's upstairs. Like the tennis is upstairs, nothing else upstairs other than the sports hall. So everything, the club room, the gym, the swimming pools, all of that downstairs. Honestly, the amount of people that just seemed they didn't even know tennis existed upstairs was painful. Like, because it was upstairs, no, not at all. Whereas most other David Lloyds, their tennis is right in front of the club room area. So if you're having a pint, you can sit there and watch tennis. I'm not saying it's easier, but
no, I get it.
A little bit more.
They're viewing it, aren't they? They can see it.
They can see it. They can engage with it a little bit more. Whereas you upstairs, unless you physically come upstairs for tennis, you've got no reason to come up there. You've got no reason to go and see what's going on and to see if you potentially want coaching.
Yeah, it's that footfall, I suppose, isn't it? But no, wicked, mate. As you say, you went over to Spain, and that was a bit of a new lease of life when you went over there. How was that, working with one of the top guys in the game?
It was very, very weird. Like, I mean, I hadn't flown at all. Like, and I went, yeah, you know what? Sod it, it's work experience. Let's go fly out to Spain on your own. And didn't.
It's a bit of you in it, that Martin. To be fair, mate, you love it.
Yeah, I do, but I'm scared of flying. So I feel exactly when you said that. Then I could see that's what I'm like every flight that I get on.
It's a long fucking walk, though, isn't it? To be fair,
I'd swim.
Mate, you're better than me. If you ever see me swim, my best mate describes it as someone trying to. It looks like someone drowning in a sink. That's what I look like when I swim, mate. It's terrible. Go on, what were you saying?
But yeah, it was an insane experience. Like the second I got there, everyone incredibly nice. Thankfully, all spoke relatively good English. There was a couple that didn't, but all the players spoke English. All the coaches spoke perfect English. But it was just completely different level, like in terms of you go from David Lloyd and you work in, you got some decent players, but it's more your hobby kind of side of things. When I went to Spain, that was top players, like world ranked juniors, world ranked adult players. Like when I was out there, worked with Juan Carlos a bit and his former coach Samuel Lopez, but at the time he was coaching the world number 12. And it was just ridiculous, to be honest. The level was insane, absolutely insane. I
was going to say, did you enjoy playing with? Did you enjoy coaching the guys at David Lloyd better, or these elite type of trainers?
I mean, you enjoy them both in like this in different senses, but it was, I don't know, it's more enjoyable, I'd say, working with the higher level guys, just because you're astounded more by what they can do, as well as they're fun to work with. Whereas, say, at David Lloyd, you are working with beginners, which is just as rewarding. But when you're seeing the ball getting battered at like 130 mile an hour, it's not bad. It is.
The sun always helps as well, doesn't it? To be fair, the sun's decent.
I mean, I went there in like February, so it wasn't. There was like 1 week was pretty hot for February. It was quite nice, but the mornings were absolutely freezing.
Really mad. See, I like it's funny in it because you never think of those sorts of places as being cold, which is probably because you only ever go there in the summer.
Brutal. I mean, like the shower block, because I was staying in like their kind of summer accommodation bit, because the rest of the accommodation there is either for full-time coaches or full-time players. So I was in like this temporary accommodation which has a separate shower block to it. Every morning at like 7 o'clock, out, freezing cold, get in the shower. They always left the windows open in the shower block.
Oh, mate. You're walking in there with a baked bean, wouldn't you? It'd be that cold.
So cold, like. It was brutal. But it added to the experience, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I suppose it toughened you up, didn't it? I guess. Being away from home. How was that, being away from home and stuff? How did you find that?
I mean, I've been away before, but never like that. I mean, it was just weird. Like, you're completely out of any form of comfort zone. If I've been away before, I'm in England. Like, it's fine. But to go to a completely different country, completely different culture, never flying before, don't know the language, I didn't have a clue who anyone was there. Thankfully, there were some English people there. Someone was there literally who, her home is like 10-minute drive away from mine.
Okay.
Never met her before, but she was 10 minutes away. But players from Brazil, Kazakhstan, Russia, Japan, like anywhere across the globe, players were there.
So how did that work? Did they not have, I don't really understand how it works in tennis. I'm presuming it's similar to football, and I might be miles off. Is it very similar where they get scouted, or they have people in clubs that they hear about them and then they go and speak? How does that work, mate? Where they
not necessarily
get them
scouted in? Because like with football, for example, you get scouted, and then if you're good enough, you potentially get into a club. Whereas with tennis, it's very much results based on an individual level. So if you're good enough, you're good enough. There's no reason for you to be scouted. I mean, top players will go move away at a very young age, 12, 13, go move to places like Spain where the weather's a little bit better, where they can play all year round, then go push on with better coaches and just play all day. Like I'd start at 9 a.m. I think I was playing till like 1:30. So the players would do like at least an hour and a half, 2 hours of tennis, then have like a 20-minute break, then go to the gym for a long period of time. And whatever one did one first, they then switched after their break. Then we'd have like lunch, chill out for a bit, and go back for like another 3 hours again. It was non-stop every day. Like the only day off they had was Sunday, and it was just non-stop.
Man, I suppose that's like, well, when you're working with those elite level athletes or people pushing to get to that elite level, that's a game changer, in it, putting it in. I suppose similar to business as well, right? Like you can take lessons from that, in a sense of, if you're trying to get something off the ground and you got to put the hours in, then it's only going to get there if you actually put the hours in. And that's not saying, well, a phrase me and Martin use a lot is trying not to be busy, be productive, because I think it's very easy to be busy and not productive. But yeah, I suppose that's quite a good lesson to learn, isn't it, from heading out there and to bring back, which is cool, mate. So what would you say that the biggest things are that you sort of brought back with you from that experience into not necessarily just professional life, but life in general?
I mean, people skills was up there. I mean, you're meeting people from all different walks of life. Some people that are insanely well off, some people that come from poorer parts in the world who have got in. I mean, the way tennis works is kind of, the higher the world ranking you may have at that point, the more of a discount you'd get to like an academy.
Okay.
Depending on what academies you go to. But obviously, if you've got a higher world ranked player, you'd rather have them on your books. You'd be willing to give them more of a discount so they come and train at your facility, so your facility looks better. But there was people from everywhere, all walks of life, and you just had to get on. There was no ifs and buts about it. You had to get on with individuals.
I suppose that's almost like associative marketing or influencer-based marketing, in a sense. Like if you've got someone who's got shed loads of followers and who everyone knows and is smashing it at Wimbledon every year, then you're trying to get them on board. It's I say strange. It's a little bit, or very different to a lot of the models that we tend to see in our industry, where you're almost steered away from discount, or more so as the more experienced you get, you're steered away from discounts, etc., because you don't want to devalue your service. But having that name, I suppose, is to build brand and stuff then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they were always like, Juan Carlos Ferrero now coaches one of the best juniors in the world. But just to have him at the facility as well was incredibly cool. Like when I was there on a one-off, because he's Spanish and he lives down the road, they had, I think at the time it was world number 9, come in and train that day with like some of their players, just because they can. But it just makes the facility look bigger, better than it always has. I mean, the name in tennis does pretty well anyway, but to go and continue have the best juniors arriving and actually saying you've worked with them for a year or so, it just makes the facility 10 times better.
And so, do you know, going there, did you know that the facility was that well known before you got there?
Yeah, like, I mean, when I tried to get work experience, I applied one in America. Stupidly, I'd never been able to do that flight, like no chance. But one in America and 2 in Spain. The 2 in Spain both accepted, and it was Juan Carlos's one and another called Soto Grande Tennis Academy, which is run by like a former British #1 player. But
not Fred Perry, is it? Fuck, you know.
No, not Fred. No, Rob, I think it was. But yeah, they offered me a place, but it was just a tie up between you've got British #1 or you've got world #1.
Yeah.
And the players that they've brought through is insane. Like to have the world #8 train at their place.
So when you got there, like in terms of like, I'm trying to put it into a perspective of like, say, well, my background's football. So I remember when I got selected to go and play with Burnley. Yeah. Turning up there for the first day, the nerves that I had, like in terms of your coaching, and did you feel like I think the question is did you feel like you'd be up to it? Was you excited? Was you scared? Like, what was you feeling like going in and working with these coaches and after to show your skill set as a coach in there as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was quite fortunate that the first couple of days, well, I was always working with someone. I was never just left on my own. but I was always learning as such. First couple of days, I was bricking it until I knew like everyone there. I was nervous before every single session. When I met everyone and when I knew everyone, that was fine. Or not even met them properly, but just seen their faces, then I was fine. But I was always with another coach. And I mean, for the first few days, they were always running the session, and then I was leading my own little bit in the session. It was never run the whole session, do it. But I think the thing with them, like higher quality players, most of the sessions are tactical based and technical based. Technical side, they're fine. But I can remember we did a whole session with a coach called Samuel Lopez, who's Juan Carlos's former coach. He literally got pieces of bamboo, stuck them in the tennis net, and we spent about an hour and a half serving to try and hit the bamboo. That the whole hour and a half, just serve, hit bamboo, and then the returner down the other end hit another bit of bamboo. That was it. Like the whole hour and a half. But I was never left do that kind of thing on my own in the first couple of days. I mean, I think after about 5 days or so, I had a little bit more control on what I was doing.
Well, you were allowed to go and collect the bamboo then, were you?
Yeah. I was allowed to run a few more sessions with it, but yeah, I didn't do anything as crazy as just serving at bamboo, but it was tedious, but it worked. You can't knock it.
It's that repetition, isn't it? I suppose, like muscle memory, repetition, etc. Oh no, interesting, mate. Okay, cool. So some lessons there, obviously, that have now you've brought back over to the UK. I think we mentioned in the intro there that you've sort of wanted to follow a bit more of an entrepreneurial path. How did it come about with yourself getting linked in with Lou, Find My Personal Trainer? How did all that come about, mate? And what was it that triggered you to start to look into that?
I mean, before Lou, I did give it a go with a business in terms of selling tennis equipment.
Okay.
Gave that a go for about 11 months. Tough market, small margins, didn't work. But it was kind of my first like little taste into what I quite enjoyed, considering didn't make me anything, but it was quite enjoyable running. And it was one of them things where I was happy to spend hours and hours and hours on end doing, providing that in the long term it could make me money. But with Lou, it was weird. I didn't have a clue who he was until about 4 months ago. And I saw in a Facebook group that he was running some competition to give away a business, essentially. From that point, I had like the same business idea as Find My PT in my head on paper, had it all written down. And I messaged it into him, and weirdly, he had exactly the same business set up and running. From that point, we got talking, got on, and we kind of agreed to work on it together. But I mean, the business model itself, I mean, coming from David Lloyd, I saw like a load of PTs, and it was a never-ending cycle of PTs. Honestly,
as in new ones coming in, old ones. Okay.
Like there was probably about a set 4 that were consistent. You could tell they'd been there for years. You could tell that they've pushed through and they've got a good client base. The rest of them, it was just never any cycle. One, I was surprised how many PTs they could manage to pluck out of the air.
It's mad, isn't it? It is mad.
I was surprised how many just going. Like it was ridiculous. But that's kind of where like my idea on the initial business idea came from, purely because I've seen so many PTs just walk in, walk out, clearly not earning enough money. Like I said with myself, if I hadn't got into tennis at such a young age, there's no way I'd still be in the industry. The only reason I could do it was because I'm still living at home, but I was living at home with no overheads.
Yeah.
I wasn't making money. It didn't matter. I had enough time to go and progress and build clients. Whereas these PTs that were coming in, they didn't. They're adults. They need to pay bills. But yeah, it was just constant, never-ending PTs coming in, out, and struggling, evidently, to gain enough clients to make a living.
So just talk us through the site itself, the portal itself, what that does, because obviously you've mentioned there most PTs when they're coming in, they struggle to get clients, and you've seen this as a bit of a solution. Just talk us through that then, mate.
Yeah, so the site essentially is a specific advertising site for personal trainers where they can advertise their services. Essentially with that, they can advertise what they specialize in. They can add reviews onto it from previous clients, add any promos or discounts they're doing, and attach social medias and write about them as a personal trainer in a nutshell. I mean, I think I've seen a load of PTs clients that potentially go with a PT because they're the only PT at the gym, or they're the only one they've actually spoken to, or something like that. Not because the PT is right for them, but because it's the only PT who's there, and it's not the one that's actually good at what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
And I mean, this site essentially helps a standard everyday gym goer find a personal trainer who fits what they want to achieve and fit the bill for them, instead of just going with a random PT who goes to their gym, who they know are a PT, but they don't really know about them, what they can do.
It's what most people do now, right? Like as soon as you're trying to find something, you just jump on Google, type it in there, and then see what comes up. So
yeah,
no, it makes sense having that central spot, I suppose, for people to find PTs. And it's not even necessarily just local, is it? I think
no.
If I'm right in saying, they can jump on there and they can scroll through and set exactly what it is that they're looking for from their trainer, what their specialities are, etc. And then that brings up a list of
so they've got
PTs.
all nation,
almost like Tinder for PTs, right?
Yeah, essentially. But you've got all nationwide. You can choose, and of course, we're not limited nowadays by online training either, especially with COVID and no real training actually going on, really. But obviously, if you want to focus on just online and you want to just either put out that you're just an online coach, of course, that's perfectly fine. And of course, if you're looking for just an online coach, which I've used before, and it worked, it got me motivated to do it, then it's perfect. I mean, it's just one of them where it's simple platform to search exactly what you want to find.
Amazing, mate. So I suppose for those business-minded people that are tuning in, they're gonna want to know what it is that they get out of using the site. So you've mentioned there, obviously, it's advertisement for themselves. They can put their reviews on, they link in with and connect with customers and clients. Why else is the portal or the website useful to these guys?
I mean, we've partnered obviously with you guys, which is
look at that. It's almost like we planned that, innit? It's mad.
Obviously partnered with you two. So compared to other like portals where you advertise yourself, for any extra development side of things within qualifications or business support or just growing as a PT in general, we've got you guys who can jump on and help all our clients.
I think that was one of the interesting things for us getting involved with yourselves was that vision of being different to what a lot of the other registers for PTs, etc., are doing. That real clear focus of actually trying to help people build a better business. I think you said it earlier, you were sort of sick of seeing that revolving door of PTs coming in and going out and people struggling to see success. So I think that was a massive thing for us to jump in and get involved with you guys. It absolutely makes sense. And if we can limit the turnover of PTs, that would be nice, wouldn't it, mate? But no, that's good. So yeah, you've hit the ground running, right? I know there's lots of development and stuff in the background which you might not necessarily want to be mentioning just yet, but all systems go, enjoying it, like finding it fun. How's it all going, mate?
It's going well. Of course, it's tough at the moment in terms of gyms being closed. It could be better. It could give us more outreach to potential clients. for us. But it's the current situation we're in. We've had to adapt. We're having to purely drive through social media and word of mouth and so on. But it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's a business where it helps people. Like, it's not that that's my be all and end all mission in life, but
I think it's a useful one though, right? Like if
throughout business, it helps. You help more people.
Yeah.
You make more money. Like, but it's one of them where it's a platform that really helps people. And same with the further development of coaches or PTs. Like I've said with David Lloyd, PT struggle. It's a known fact that their career isn't that long.
Yeah.
Normally. So it does take some work and some expertise to really hit the ground running and take off. But it's enjoyable to be able to be involved in a business that helps the growth and development and just money side of their business as well, to be able to make them gain a career in it.
Yeah, 100%. I think was it this week? Mate, I lose track of the days, to be fair. I'm pretty sure it was this week. We were speaking to one of the guys on, we've got like a support program, a group support program that we were running. And we were literally saying, like the fun part about it is that you get to help people and change lives and save lives. But at the same time, you've got to get paid for what it is that you do, because if you don't do that, then you're not going to be able to help people forever, are you? And that cup that you're serving others from soon runs empty, to use one of those cliche phrases. But no, it absolutely makes sense. And it sounds like it's something that you're enjoying, which is great. What would you sort of say to anyone that's wanting to jump in and get involved in the site, or have a look at the site, or this is your opportunity to reel it off now, mate? Your sales pitch, your elevator pitch, no pressure.
Go for it. I mean, personally, we charge $9.99 a month or $99.99 upfront for the whole year, which compared to, say, if you're going to advertise on Instagram, for example, and do paid ads, you'll spend a lot more per month potentially than that. And you're then cluttered through. I know the amount of ads that I just swipe through because they do my head in. But you've got constant driving of traffic from us, of everyday people who want to find personal trainers on that site. So we're constantly driving people through. But it's a PT specific site. You make your profile look as presentable as it possibly can, which some of them on there look very, very good. You're going to get more clients.
That's you saying some of them look shit, isn't it? To be fair.
Nah,
you ain't got to name names, mate. Don't worry. You ain't
they're
got
all
to name
good,
names.
to be fair. They're all good.
Look, he's backtracking now. Look.
Do you know what I like? Do you know what I really like about it is it's stuff that what me and Dan do when we're mentoring these guys is it gives them an identity, rather than being somebody who's just going to go on the gym floor, just like you said before, and try and take on everybody. They have to be specific with the type of clients that they want, and with that, that's when they'll get the traction of new members or clients coming to them from off your site. So I think that will help the PT massively, just through that alone.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're looking at any big kind of social media presence of a personal trainer that has 20k, 30k followers or whatever, they are so specific in the niche that they are working within. They don't even try and venture into other areas. They specialize in one area, whatever that may be, and they stick to it.
Yeah,
and they do very well at it. Same with the site. The reason we've built in the specialties thing is we want people to stick to what they know, what they can do, and they can find clients that want to simply nail in that, not clients that say I want to do something very generic, but something that they can specialize in and something that they can really offer the client.
Yeah, it makes it. I think we were going through this the other day, to be fair. When you see most PTs profiles or whatever, they've got 1,000,001 things written down as what they specialize in, but actually that doesn't make it a fucking speciality, does it? Like,
No.
that means you're you're a jack of all trades, which is fine to an extent. But if you're marketing, or we know from experience, if you're really hone in on who it is that you're trying to work with, then the message you put out, the direction you've got for your content, the ability you've got to solve their problems, etc., is a lot easier, isn't it? And that also then stops you from sitting in your bed at stupid o'clock in the morning, panicking and sweating about what it is that you're going to post the next day. So no, it's useful, mate, and great for the guys to have that opportunity, I suppose. Obviously, I know we've linked in with yourself and the guys that are going through qualifications, or the guys that we're touching base with regularly. We kind of give them a nudge towards yourselves, and vice versa, which is great. So no, it all sounds good, mate. So what does the future hold for you?
I mean, in theory, in the future, we want to implement a tier system. We want to provide as much value for the longevity of their businesses as we possibly can. So with the top end of the business, obviously, get you guys involved a bit more with monthly drop-in calls and just further development for the personal trainers. And also alongside that, other discounts to brands who will help them further develop their career, whether that be personal training apps, supplement companies, gym equipment companies that we can get discounts to, but overall provide a major package where they of course get all the advertising on the site still, but they also get the extra development package to help them really boost their career.
Yeah, I think that's what sets it apart, isn't it, really, mate, by the sounds of things. But no, that's really good. How about with yourself, mate? You got much? I know you mentioned that you've got a few other plans for yourself. Might not be anything you want to share as yet, to be fair, which is fine. But what's in your locker other than hoping that Boris opens the tennis courts?
Hoping. I mean, obviously, I've got that to go back to. When I don't really know, but it's one of them.
To be fair, that's not something I've like. Are they bundled in with gyms, or are they completely separate, or how does it work?
Well, we're more bundled with golf in terms of
golf.
Yeah, because with tennis being outside,
oh yeah, of course.
Like non-contact, nothing like that. I mean,
it's probably where I was going wrong when I was playing it then, to be fair, because
slide tackling people.
Yeah, losing points, mate. That's going to end up in a contact in it at some point. It's no good for me. That no good for me.
I mean, we're bundled in with them, but whenever, I mean, the only annoying thing was obviously PTs can still PT in a park 1-to-1, and I'm sat here at home like, so what? I can't play tennis where I'm like miles away from the other person. Like, it's painful. But yeah, I got that to go back to. I've got another business that I want to set up soon, which is, I mean, not similar, but in terms of to help younger entrepreneurs, essentially. Because, I mean, although I've done absolutely nothing as far, I know the kind of struggles that a lot of younger people who want to get into entrepreneurship find. I mean, the amount of times I got told just start, which is massive, but even from that point you get told just start and you're like, yeah, but how? I don't know what to do from here. So essentially we want to build a brand around that, but that should be getting registered in the next couple of days, and then we go through and drive the product that we're going to bring to the market with that.
Like an entrepreneur academy almost,
but not kind of, more of a network.
Do you know what? Actually, that's a shout. Actually, calling it
more
a network. There's a book that come out by Daniel Priestley quite recently, which is How to Raise Entrepreneurial Kids. Don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
But me and my other half were looking at it the other day, and it's just interesting how stuff like that can be developed from such a young age. Like, I think me and Martin have said it before, but it took us a long time to start to think like a business when we first came into the industry, etc. But the fact that you've got people out there, I think it's a bit of a buzzword a little bit, but I think, as I say, there's that many people out there at the moment that are like, I don't want my little one to be brought up falling into this system of a 9-to-5 live for the weekend sort of lifestyle. And I think even with COVID, etc., steered us more so towards, we were talking about it with Sophie last week, but that steered us even more so towards like working on your terms and having that bit of freedom, etc., which is interesting. So no, I'm sure that'll be a great shout, mate. And
you know what, mate, it's mad because like my daughter's 9 and there's some games that she plays now that makes her think like an entrepreneur. So you've got I don't know what it's called, some daft name, but it's like a Sims, but you've got to
Sims, mate. What a game that was, by the way.
It's kind of like a Sims, but you've got to create a world, and then you've got to have a business to run in order to make the world bigger. So she's already thinking like that and looking to find money and start something that will make more money to then build this enterprise that she's trying to build. Mate, when I was a kid, I didn't have nothing like that. I just had
Super Mario,
Mortal Kombat. That was it.
Mortal Kombat. Have you seen the trailer for the new Mortal Kombat?
No,
mate. I've seen it this morning. It looks unreal, by the way. It looks class. Any Mortal Kombat fans out there, go and check out the trailer. Like, I feel like I've just jumped all over the Find My PC.
That wasn't even the point I was trying to make.
Oh, mate, unreal. I know. You see, that's how good it is. It's just absolutely set me off. It looks class. It looks class. But yeah, I think that is interesting, isn't it? That you've got stuff like that starts to get people thinking very differently to, I suppose, how we were trained to think. But no, that's great, mate. As I say, I think that'll be an interesting one, an interesting venture, and one no doubt that you'll see success with, and one that we will wish you success with, mate. So probably a few fun questions for us to wrap up with, mate, if that's okay. The first one I'm going to ask you is, who's your favourite tennis player? Solely because I think it's a relevant question. So who's your favourite tennis player of all time? As a player,
I'd have to say Andy Murray because I'm British, but as a person, although he gets a lot of stick, Nick Kyrgios is hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny, isn't he?
I
don't know. Yeah, that was the phrase I was going to use, but I was going to be a bit more politically correct. I'm not going to lie. Just not like he's ever going to fucking tune in, but you never know, do you? But no, yeah, I think that's what makes him, though. Do you get what I mean? Like that sort of person. That's what
got that character about him.
Yeah, like Cantona.
Relate in terms of just the banter he has with other people. You can relate to him.
It's mad how laid back he is, isn't it? As in, like he doesn't take it too serious. Whereas a lot of these pros are like, I'm a pro tennis player. I need to zone in. I need to tune in. I need to really focus. And he's just like, yeah, I'll rock up. I'll hit a few. I'll chuck some between my legs. I'll do some with my eyes closed or whatever. He's mad. Such a mad guy.
I saw him play, like warm up at Queen's in London a couple of years ago, and I have never seen someone play like him. Like, he was playing with Dan Evans, who's a British player, and the talent was just insane. Like, it was no look, calling that he's hitting a winner before he's even touched the ball. It was just stupid. Do
you know what's mad though about that is you only get to witness that when you see them like in person. Yeah. When you see it on the TV, you don't see that. Louis Saha was like that for me with football. Like, I didn't realise how good of a touch he had and how sharp his movement was until you watched him on a field. Like, before that, I was like, he's not even that good.
When he was at Fulham, he was decent at Fulham, but you never thought, how's he, like, United had come in for him or anything like that, did you?
No, until you see that first touch and how clever he was at finding space. But you only see stuff like that with these elite athletes when you
it's just live sport in general. It's ridiculous. Whatever sport it is. I mean, a lot of people who don't watch a certain sport, you kind of don't appreciate it. Like, in terms of, none of my mates, like close mates, watch or play tennis. They couldn't give a damn about tennis. But I know full well if they were to go to Wimbledon, when I go there, insane. Just the sheer speed and the just overall effect of the game.
There's literally two reasons that I took any interest in tennis. One was obviously because I worked at a squash and tennis club, so I sort of had to in the end. But the other was because of my nan. She literally used to take time off every year from work to watch the second week of Wimbledon every year without fail. And as I say, that's that's why I ended up taking a bit of an interest in tennis. But and only that's probably the only reason that the player I liked most is Andre Agassi as well, because that was my nan's favourite player. Only because she fancied him, but.
Mate, the maddest thing is the reason why I used to watch it is because of the women and the noises that they make.
Mate, this guy's got his eyes closed in his phone. I'm recording Wimbledon. So.
Just have the audio on.
Mad, fair play. I'd love to go though. I would love to go. I think I've said it before. Like my other half's not big into sports or stuff like that, but I'd love to go just for the experience of saying you've been to Wimbledon and you've seen it. You've sat on centre court. Not that it's easy to get on centre court. You have to sleep there for about 6 weeks, don't you?
Mate, the only times. I mean, I think I've camped like 3, maybe 4 times now. I can't remember. It is the longest, most tiring night of your life. Honestly, like I normally get there on Tuesday, and I've only been on centre court once. But I got on Tuesday, had to get there at like 11:30 in the morning. And then you're there the whole day. You do nothing. It's a queue. Like they say you can't walk around, but you do. You're not sitting in a tent for like the whole day. But yeah, you sit there, you're up till midnight. You've got thousands of other people in a field that are arriving all the way through the night. So that keeps you up because they won't shut up. Then they come round at like 5 in the morning.
Your tent holds your space in the queue.
Yeah.
Mad.
You pop up your tent. You've got a card to say what number you are, but your tent holds your place in the queue.
That's mental.
Like you'll lock your tent up, go get a pizza, go walk around the local area, whatever. But it is brutal. And then you're up at like 5 in the morning with them banging some pots and pans around to wake you up. And then you've got a load of people coming in the morning as well, like thousands and thousands and thousands of people from like.
Sounds like a great excuse to get away from my house. That does. Wimbledon's going to be on every other week.
Honestly, but then you
tell the kids.
I don't think I got home last year until about 12:30. Well, not last year, the year before. So about 12:30 at night. So you're up at 5 in the morning. You're home at like 12:30. Wow. Knackered.
And you live local as well, to be fair. So it'd probably be even later for us.
I wouldn't say local, but I'm an hour away, hour and a half away.
So your accent's a lot closer than mine is, and it's definitely closer than what Martin's is, mate. That's all I know.
Yeah, I'm about 6 hours away.
Oh, wicked. So yeah, that was the first one. The second one, and one that we tend to go through with all of the guests that jump on really is you're running a dinner party. You have the option to invite 3 guests, whether they're alive or past, and it's completely down to you who you choose. Who are you choosing and why?
I mean, I'd have to go with my first one, and Andy Murray be one of them. Yeah. Although everyone says his personality is like watching paint dry. He's one of them where if you see him a little bit closer, he's actually got some form of sense of humor. One, Thierry Henry.
Shout.
Just short, like just pure legend. And then Gary Vaynerchuk as the third, probably.
Yeah, very two sports and one business. Fair play, mate. Do you know I think would be interesting, and it's only just come to me now. Matthew Flamini. Have you heard about his business that he's got?
Oh yeah, I can't believe he kept it a secret.
I know.
What's he running?
Mate, it's something to do with fuel. It's something to do with fuel. Yeah, it's something to do with like, I don't know, economical fuel or something like that. But he's like a billionaire off the back of it, and never told anyone.
He's a good player as well.
Like, honestly, I can remember in his second spell at Arsenal, it just come out on the news one day that he's a billionaire or his company's worth £1 billion or something. Mad. He kept it a complete secret.
He's just
you wouldn't take him as the person to run £1 billion.
Nah. two footing guys, left, right, and centre.
Exactly.
And then go. Yeah, mate, mad. So bad. Yeah.
Second question is: you've got your dinner party guests. You need a starter, a main, and a dessert. What you're going with? You don't have to be able to cook it.
I was going to say I'm the shittest cook I've ever seen. Starter. it's got to be some form of boring fried cheese, something mozzarella or halloumi strips or something like that. Something like that. Main. I'm like a really boring food person, like really boring. I've got the same kind of things that I'll go for, and then that's about it. Main meat feast pizza.
Nice. I like a pizza. It's my favorite type of food.
Pizza.
And what about dessert?
This is like the most boring selection. Go for like a sorbet. Sorbet's like
is sorbet a dessert? Let's just nail this one now. Is sorbet a dessert, or is it like a refresher in between courses?
It's a refreshing dessert. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, you're gonna sit on the fence.
Yeah, so. It's like the most kids dessert you could ever get. But
it's just literally crushed flavored ice, isn't it?
It tastes good and it's refreshing. That's all I've got.
Fair play, mate. And then, well, you don't even know if albums will ring any bells for you, mate. I feel it's making me feel a little bit old, this one, to be fair.
Playlist, mate.
Yeah, that's a shout. If you had to if you were trapped on a desert island and you had one album or playlist that you could listen to, what would it be and why?
That's tough. Honestly, it'd have to be, if I was on a desert island, it'd have to be something either dance or house, because I'd be miserable as anything on an island that I need something upbeat. Don't know who it'd be.
Just some sort of compilation, house compilation.
Nathan Dorr or someone like that.
Sure.
Fair play, mate. Wicked. Yeah, well, I think that's a shout, to be fair. You got to keep your spirits up, haven't you, mate?
Yeah. Can't be anything else.
No, wicked. So yeah, really appreciate you jumping on, mate. It's been great chatting to you. Really enjoyed it. Lots of stuff to take away, lots to know about the portal as well that you've mentioned just there. But as I say, really enjoyed having you on. Thanks again for jumping in. I've been me, Martin's been Martin, and that's been Charlie down the bottom. Thanks everyone for listening. If you want to subscribe, that will give you an update every time we do get a new episode come through, and then we'll be able to catch you in the future. Thanks for listening. Catch you soon.